Well, as a young girl, Gina La Morte had two goals: work in the fashion industry and help others. Now, years later, Gina is doing both.
Gina La Morte was living her childhood dream. She was a celebrity stylist and had launched her own fashion magazine. But a heart-wrenching divorce left her depressed, and she lost her passion for her work and her life. She says prayer and God's grace gave her the strength to overcome her depression and return to the industry she loves. In her new book, Designing Your Dream, she shares how God can help you rise above life's difficulties and reach your goals.
God's dream ambassador, Gina La Morte, is here with us now. Gina, welcome to the 700 Club.
Thank you for having me. It's good to see you, too.
We've known each other on Facebook, but we've never met in person, so it's great to see you. You're just as lovely in person. Well, tell us how you got into the fashion industry. This was a dream since you were a little girl.
Yeah, it's always been my dream. It's funny, God just put that in my heart, and my career really kicked off at Nordstrom, where I was a stylist. I got to style fashion shows for In Style magazine, Harper's Bazaar, do all that kind of stuff. So that's where it kicked off.
Almost every girl's dream. Now, in 2008, you launched a national magazine. This was a dream that seemed, I mean, it was a huge dream, but it came to pass. What did that feel like?
Yeah, well, it was really interesting. It was a dream I forgot, actually, and that's one of the things that I love to talk about is I didn't remember having that dream when I was a little girl, but that dream was brought back to me when I was actually in Nordstrom. By a total stranger who came up to me and said, "Did you ever want to have your own magazine?" And I was like, what? I actually had buried it because of fears and just like negative self-talk. And so after he kind of put that back into me, I said, oh my gosh, this is something I've been dreaming about since I was a kid.
You know, we forget sometimes. I write stuff in my journal and I forget 10 years later, but God never forgets. And he used that person to come up to you and sort of unlock that dream. And I mean, it was called Boho, right?
Yes.
And it was right next to all the big magazines.
Yeah, so it was called Boho. It was a sustainable publication. It was about being organic and living a sustainable life, and also about giving back, because giving back was such an important piece of me. So I wanted to combine my love of fashion, my love of nature.
And you were in 33 countries?
Yeah, we were actually in 37 countries.
37 countries. Okay, so that was a huge success. You saw your dream come to pass, and then just a few years later, you were married. What happened?
Yeah, so I went through a divorce. It was kind of like the perfect storm. I had gone through a divorce. The magazine was growing bigger than, you know, you can imagine, and so it was just a really difficult experience. I had been a perfectionist, so it was really interesting for me to strive and work and really then come to a place where everything kind of broke.
I mean, in your magazine sort of deflated. I mean, it was doing well, but it kind of got bigger
than it just grew too big too fast.
Your marriage was falling apart. Suddenly, where are all the dreams? You know, you must have been saying, God, what happened?
Yeah, they died, which was really interesting. Well, I don't like to say they died, but they became buried.
Right.
So, you know, here I was, this dreamer. I was always thinking of things and envisioning things bigger than beyond me.
And you talk about, in your new book, Designing Your Dream, which is a lovely book. I love the cover.
Thank you.
So pretty. And you talk about dreams really don't die. They're just buried. And there's a great example in the Bible.
Yeah, well, I mean, Joseph is the example of that, right? God gave him a vision of what his life was going to be like at the end, but he had gone through all of these trials, and so I think that's why God does that for us too. He gives us a dream, and it seems like it's dead, but it's not. It's buried like a flower. It's planted under the ground.
He's preparing us.
Yes, he's preparing it. It has to be watered. It has to be tilled, and that's the trial period.
So when you were in that pit, you know, like Joseph was, after you'd had that huge success, now everything's fallen apart. God speaks to you in pictures. What did he show you that was so unusual?
Yeah, so I was really just feeling like a mess, and I was crying out to God, and I was just like, you know, I am a mess. What is it, God? Yeah, I think everybody's been there, right? And so I saw this picture of a T-shirt, which was really interesting because I'm a fashion person. He speaks in our language.
Yeah.
And I saw on the back of the T-shirt the word mess, and I saw it scribbled out. And God said to me, the mess is behind you. That's your past.
Wow.
And on the front of the T-shirt, I saw the word victor and overcomer in the shape of a cross. And he said, this is who you are in me, and this is who you are going forward, and you have to choose to leave that behind.
So how did you turn it around? You saw the vision, you saw this T-shirt.
Yeah, so I think that was the day that I kind of came out. I mean, I was really suffering through a depression. I was suicidal. I felt like there was no hope almost, and that was so unlike me. And so I had to choose, and I really say this, it's a choice. I had to choose to believe what God told me and the visions that he gave me instead of believing my circumstance.
So what are some practical steps to realizing your dream?
Well, you know, there's a lot of practical steps, but there's three main important ones. And I say first, write the vision down, right? We talk about it in the Bible. It says, write the vision down plainly so people can read it. You've got to get it out of your head and onto paper, like an architect.
And it's true, even when I write down my to-do list, I usually get it done. If I don't write it down, I don't get it done.
No, and then you're just floundering. So you've got to focus, you know, stay focused. And then two, I think take the first step.
Which is the hardest, right?
It is. So many people are like, I don't know what to do first. And so you've got to take like one step because that's a faith step.
What was the first thing you did to, you know, a magazine? That's huge. I mean, what was the first thing you did?
So the first thing I did was research. I mean, after I got the download, I like to say, and a vision of what I was supposed to do, I started researching and I just really started going out there and saying, okay, what is it? What does this picture look like? And it evolved. I think that's another thing that people need to realize is that you can have a dream, but it changes and it evolves, and don't be so, you know, holding on to it so tightly. Allow that breathing room. Like Oprah always says, allow God to come in the door.
Exactly.
You know, you've got your vision, but give a little bit of space for God to come in and give you that vision and help
you talk about dream thieves. What's the number one dream thief? Because, you know, God gives us a vision, but it's up to us to sort of bring it to pass.
Yeah, so the number one dream thief is fear.
Right.
You know, the opposite of faith. Fear that I'm not good enough, fear that I don't have the money, fear that I don't have the time, fear that I'm just really not prepared. And those are all lies that really keep you from doing the exact thing you were born to do. Everything is within you. You know, God gives you the desires of your heart. Those are dreams, stepping stones to your destiny.
And you see that our dreams aren't just about us. They're for other people, which is something that you're living out now.
Absolutely. I mean, I say now my new dream is to help other people live their dreams.
Wow.
And I really take that seriously because it's a passion of mine, and I feel like I've already lived and walked out the process, and it is a process. I don't want people to quit. I don't want people to quit in the middle.
And failure is part of our success.
Oh,
which doesn't make sense.
I have such a quote that I love about this. It is, you know, failure was really hard for me personally to learn because of being a perfectionist. But I realized that failure is a part of success. It's not the opposite of success.
Gina, this is great, and we could go on and on. You can see more of Gina's story by getting her book. It's called Designing Your Dream. It's available wherever books are sold or on Amazon. Gina, God bless you, and thanks for being a dream ambassador.
Thank you.